Black Out Loud Media Group. Welcome back to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast, the place where poetry meets conversation. I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and before we get into today's topic, make sure you hit that plus sign so you don't miss an episode. Also, please subscribe to my blog, thebrownssugarcafe.blog, and if you find any value in this episode or any other episodes, make sure you leave a heartfelt review. So with that being said, let's get to it. Everyone I have with me, J Melane Wise. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
I'm so glad I got you on. I've been meaning to do this for a while for us to connect. And just one day I was like, man, let me reach out to him and see if we can get him on my show. I really do appreciate, we linked up in the House of Creativity. I've had Val on the show. I've had G, the entanglement coach, on the show.
Whoa,
and so
heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Hitters.
And so one day I was like, man, I need to get you on the show to share your story, because I think it's very inspirational and it helps some people, kids as well as probably some mothers.
Yes.
So you're an inspirational speaker, among other things, a whole lot of other things. I want to talk to you today about that journey to becoming an inspirational speaker.
Yes, sir, man. Wow, it's a journey, man. It was a journey. I'm actually working right now in the House of Creativity with, by Monique Lisa Johnson. And I'm actually working on a book. The title of it is Where. And I want to get a breakdown of where once you read the book, you understand why that word means so much to me. But in my journey I had a lot of challenges growing up, especially with speech and pronouncing words and stuff like that. And being a young black male in the public education system, back then, because I'm not as young. I feel young, but I'm not as young. Teachers back then didn't, go by the, I guess you call it the true, I guess the state of curriculum, what you want to call it. They really try to teach. They really try to teach based off what they knew. And unfortunately, when I was real young, I had teachers that didn't know what they're doing and didn't want to educate and stuff. So I had challenges there, stuff what I heard we would call racism was happening back then, being in the South. And not understanding some things, your parents try to protect you and stuff, so they ain't introduce a whole lot of stuff to you. So I went through some stuff in school where the teachers did not, they, I guess you say, pass the buck or did not help out. Then I had some challenges at home as well with my father, and he being a military vet from the Vietnam War and stuff. He had a whole lot of things that happened that shifted and shaped his life when he came back. So as my mother would say, he did not come back the same way. And so with those challenges there, and he ruled with iron fist, and so it put me in place, not to the standpoint of being uplifted, but I'm operating in fear a lot, because like any other father, you want to get affirmation or approval from your father. So when you mess up, that was not a good thing. Oh, bro, that was not good. So, so when you mess up, you hear the voice of thunder, the voice of thunder. I'm making fun of it now, but back then, it put fear in my heart, and because I'm only child, so any wrath came, boy, it came my way. So I just went through a lot dealing with that, and I built up a dislike, I'll call you say, or hate towards my father. And also to the school system to a certain degree when I was growing up, because they didn't understand me. And I was trying. And I was one of them kids that did not want to try. I tried. But, man, I couldn't get words out of my mouth. Certain words I just couldn't get out. And actually, man, the second grade year with that teacher I had, good God Almighty, unfortunately, I think I remember her name. I'm not going to call it on this podcast. But she man, I just remember when she called one of the students an N-word.
Oh,
Wow. It kind of set the tone for that class.
Yeah,
being young in the
course.
second grade, check and balance back then.
Yeah.
Like you go home, I didn't have the common sense then to go back home and say, hey, mom and dad. Well, mom probably would check the dad. I don't know what dad would did. Dad kind of rowdy, but I didn't go back and say anything about it. But it did set a tone, and so it wasn't a good place of learning. So what ended up happening is I ended up failing in the second grade. Couldn't pass the end of your test. I couldn't pass the, I guess you call it the reading portion of it. So there was some challenge there. But through that, there was some other dynamics going on at home with my mother and father. And my father decided to leave because he got in trouble. He got in trouble with the law, and instead of dealing with it, he took off and ran. And one of the things he left me, I never forget this last conversation he gave me when I was young. I was Saturday morning, what it's Saturday morning, you watch cartoons.
Yeah.
You sit on the floor watching cartoons, watching Spider-Man and Amazing Friends and the, what you call the Justice League and all that, Hall of Justice and all that stuff. The Incredible Hulk. Back in the young kids, y'all don't understand that. Y'all don't understand them days. But and he came there. He said, "Son." I turned around, I looked up, and I said, "Yes, Dad." He said, "I just want to tell you this. Take care of your mom, all right? Make sure you do nothing else. Take care of your mom. Take care of your mom." I said, "Yes, sir." Then he closed the door, and he said, "Man them up." And I was like, okay. Wow. So it shaped something inside of me.
Yeah.
At that moment, it shifted something. I came from being that innocent kid that had some fearful things from him, but it shifted me, like it put a responsibility on me. Remember now, he just told me to do this. He ain't give me no plan, no how plan of action, none of this stuff. He just said, do this thing. Now, my mother was a very independent woman, and she handled her business. She was a working woman. She did all that. She was not weak at all. But it still did something to me that I felt like I had to take care of her. I felt like I had to do a certain thing. So once he left, then my mother ended up leaving that home and moving back home. I'm leaving out some details. So I'm not giving all the details, so I'm leaving out some. But she moved back home to her mother and her father, which is my grandparents. And she registered me up to this school in the north deep country. I mean, deep country. But man, when I went there, it's like I got fresh and new life. And the teacher, I never forget now, I will mention this name. Her name was Miss Wagstaff and Helen Beard. And I was in the third grade, and it changed my life because they knew how to work with individual children and get out the best out of them based off where they was at. And it shaped my life. I came from somebody who was making F's and D's to start making A's and B's, even though I had a challenge. So it's a difference when you show attention and you want to work with a young individual. And Miss Wagstaff, I'm a native black person, but Miss Wagstaff was a white lady, and she showed so much love and concern that, it was motherly, and you felt it. So there are teachers out there that, it don't have to be your same race, that can love on you and encourage you. So she encouraged me. Miss Beard, she was a Southern native black lady, and she showed up. I still see her to the day. She's still alive, thank you, Lord. And she was assistant, and she showed us in there. She was strong. She no joke either, but they had this loving nature about them that changed the dynamic. So I went from one classroom in the second grade that was not good, that was negative. Then I went to a very positive, and it's immediately the shift that tell you if you put a kid in the right environment, they can flourish.
Yeah.
So they put me in that mama registered me in the school, went there, I got there, and I started making A and B. Still had challenges. To work through it. Then I got to fourth grade, and I met this teacher named Gloria Morgan. And this woman shaped my life. She really shaped my life because she was hardcore, but she will push you. She'll push you with love. And I never felt like I could not get anything done or could not accomplish. Even though I was stuttering all the place, I couldn't pronounce words, I couldn't do stuff. She always said, "You can do this. You got this." And that's still ringing in my head today, as even being a man in my 50s. It's still, when I get to such a situation, that the voice comes in my head, "You got this. You got this." and it pushed me and motivate me to be in more motivation things and more things it called me to be. So them things shape you. Now, so all this gonna tie up because it's gonna go to my name. So
Okay.
I'm go to high school. I'm gonna fast forward through middle school, all them crazy stuff we did in middle school, and I'm gonna talk about that stuff right now, bro. That can be juicy leaving the book. But all this stuff to middle school and to high school, that was a situation happened there where I was in the 12th grade. And I still had my challenges. I still didn't have the confidence, and I still remember some of the things that happened in my youth, with my father and all that stuff like that. So those things still haunt me. And I had to do a reading in the class, and when I was trying to do the reading in class, the whole class bust out in laughter and stuff like that. And I was trying to be serious, but the whole entire class, I'm leaving like that. The whole entire class laughed. I mean, I wasn't trying to be a jokester or nothing, but it just did something to me. I remember the sun would come behind me, hitting the back of my neck, and I was getting hot and stuff like that, man. I was sweating, and it just did something to me. But at that day forward, I said, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna prove everybody in that place. It was a make and breaking moment for me. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna accomplish something in life. This Southern country boy is going to get some things done. So I worked hard to finish up that year. Out of the class, I think it was 312 students. I ended up, I bounced up to be in the top 100. I think I finished 88 in the class. I wasn't the top 5 of 10, but out of 312 students, I got into the top 100. Because I was determined, I was going to make it. And I got into this program. It's a guy named Mr. Carver. God rest his soul. And this guy, Mr. Carver, came to me and one of my homeboys and said, "Hey, do you want to go to this college program at North Carolina A&T?" I heard about North Carolina A&T, and I was like, okay. Mom was like pushing Central University, which in Durham, North Carolina, close to home. Mom trying to keep close to home. Being a young man, I ain't trying to be that close to home. So I just want to go down the street a little bit. So I went down. So I went to North Carolina A&T, man, and I spent a week program there. It changed my life, man. It changed my life. Now I want to give you a funny moment there. Just before I went there, you want to go fly. You're going to a college campus. You're high school. You can't tell anything. You can't tell nobody nothing. You want to be fly and all the stuff.
Especially at HBCU.
Yeah, man. I want to rock, man. Right. And I want to be so cool, man. I think 4 days before I had to go, I got bit by a spider on my right foot. And my foot swole. No. I gotta tell you, man, do you know my whole foot ain't swole the whole entire time for that? It was actually not a week, it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks in that doggone program, man. So I won some fly kits, but I had to wear Bearman shoes on the other foot, you know what I'm saying? Cause I couldn't get my foot into the other shoes, man. So, so that go my game right there. All the game I was gonna kick, man, I couldn't really kick it, but cause they said, man, why you want to fly kick on the left foot, but you want to, you know what I'm saying, so what it is, God got jokes. I just say God got jokes. But it was an amazing experience, and I knew I wanted to go to North Carolina A&T. I knew I wanted to get into the some type of engineering program, because that school is known for engineering. My goal was to go into architecture engineering, but they said you had to stay there in that program for 5 years. I was saying God got jokes again. Stay there for 5 years, and you had to take all these miles. And brother man was trying to do all that. So when I got there, I talked to my counselor, and I was like, what should I get into? And she was like, you know what, if you don't want to do engineering, you want to do 5 years, because I was trying to do it in 4, right? You go ahead and get into technology, learn about computers. And this is back in like 96, 97 when I went there. And the computer game was bouncing then, they were trying to sorry. And then we rewind, I'm thinking ahead, rewind to 92. So it was 92 when she told me to get into the program, and I was like, okay, computers. I fell out. So I got into this. I got into the School of Technology, and met some wonderful people. Man, even got my best friends that came from that program. And what the motivation thing was, man, when you get around people who trying to do something in life, I mean, it will motivate you. So you got to know who your community is, who your tribe is. And the motivation of that is, I'm just saying that for anybody out here, always know who's in your crew. Always
Right.
know who rocking with you, who have your back. When I was young, I didn't have that at first, but when I got to college, I did, because I was determined I was going to make something for myself. So a row of people was going to make something for themselves as well. So as they elevate, I elevated. As I elevated, they elevated. And when I'm taking this back to my standpoint, my father did not have that. My father didn't have the people who rocked with him. My father had people in his circle that was not up to any good. That's why he got in trouble with the law. And those reflections, I saw them points, and I want to be the opposite of him, which in turn, my name coming in, because my name is Johnston. My government name is Johnston Melane Wise. And I went by Johnston Wise, of course. Everybody call me Johnston because unique name. My first name is the last name. My last name, of course, is the last name. But my middle name is Melane. I couldn't stand that name. I hated that name. I hated that. My daddy gave me that name, and I despised that name. So I always go by Johnston M. Wise. I never want to use the word Melane. So I hated that. So because everything my father, that name Melane represented everything about my father.
Right. Okay.
So, him not being, being in my life, him not having the right people, him not giving the guidance. Then when I went to college, I had the guidance. I had good people in my circle. I had good professors at North Carolina A&T that taught, tell you about life. They did not just teach you about just, the X and O's and, dot your I's and cross your T's, but they try to teach you about life. They're all about teaching about adapting to life. Then I had my friends, my community there. So, everybody shifted from calling me Johnston Wise, all my friends, and therefore start calling me Wise, calling me my last name. So since then, I was going by Wise. So anybody in my circle, they always call me Wise. So, you call me Johnston, either I'm working with you, it's in some kind of government facility, you're a telemarketer, or you work with me in some kind of government factory, use my government name. But most of the people in my inner circle always call me Wise. And what ended up happening, I'm fast forwarding again. So and through the life and challenges, I was able to graduate magna cum laude at North Carolina A&T with a grade point average of, I think it was 3.8, 3.5 or 3.8. Ooh. I messed up in chemistry. I couldn't get chemistry, man. I nailed everything else, man, but that chemistry, man, no matter how much I saw that teacher, I hired me, I came there, you know what I'm saying? Even I brought him a red apple, it didn't matter, man. I could not pass that course, dude. I passed the course. I passed with a D, but that shot my GPA down a little bit. So, but I felt so good. Then I had the opportunity to take advantage of a co-op, and that allowed me. I always tell people, you're in college, get some type of experience. Take a couple years out there, get some experience. So, Wilson came to me. I don't know who gave it to me, but they told me, hey man, take this opportunity to do this co-op. So I went into the co-op. Now this is a joke again. I was saying, guys, funny, because I want to go to college for 4 years, but for me to do the co-op, that meant I had to go to school for 5 years. So I could to the architecture engineering degree thing. So you know what I'm saying? I had my mind that I want to do this in 4, but for me to do the co-op, I had to go to school for 5 years. So I ended up breaking up some of my courses and actually taking the 5th year in college, and so I can do the full co-op, which in turn gave me 5 years in college. So instead of graduating in 96, I ended up graduating in 97. Then the opportunity came again when another brother came from IBM, and he said, "Hey, we are hiring. I want to get some of brothers up here as much as possible." So here's the opportunity. You couldn't front. You had to go interview with a whole lot of managers that did not look like us. But we went forth, but I had the co-op experience. A whole lot of kids that showed up there did not have experience. The only thing they had the paper in their hand, but they had no work experience. But I had a work experience. I had my resume, I had my resource, I had my references. All those spoke to all the technical details are there. So I ended up landing a career job at IBM as a IT technician, IT specialist, and that started my whole career in IT. And I had to move to Charlotte, North Carolina for taking a move from Greensboro to Charlotte, North Carolina. And with that, man, it kind of opened me up because I started working, North Carolina A&T, it's just us there. Now, I came from a small town that was black and white. Then I went to North Carolina A&T with majority black people.
Yeah.
And then I went to IBM in it was a culture shock. It's totally different. So I ended up working with a lot of white people and a lot of Indian people and a lot of Asian people. So, so I had to learn how to adapt and to get along with different cultures, which was fine with me. So I ended up learning how people flow. And I learned a lot. My first office mate was an Asian guy. And man, at first I could not stand the word. I couldn't understand the word he was saying because his dialect was so thick. I mean, I thought I had thick accent being in the South, but he had a lot. The accent was so strong, man. But I able to get to the standpoint of understanding him, and he had this work ethic and that was saying you don't play with Asians and stuff like that. I ain't say everybody like that, but majority of them do have a strong work ethic. They take it serious, man. And I say, you know what? And I had that thing in my head. Nobody's gonna prove me wrong. Nobody's gonna outdo me and stuff like that. So I work just as hard just so I can keep up with this dude. Not trying to keep with the Jones, just the standpoint of you know what I'm saying. I just had that man in me, man. I want to elevate my game. We talked about earlier how Michael Jordan elevated his game. His will was superb. So I had that same mentality. I said, okay, hey, you might get me in this area, but I'm going to work hard here. And like I said, we grew, became good friends, had a lot of guys from India, same thing. Work ethic was superb. And I just want to match this work ethic. And from there, man, my whole career took off. I ended up moving to Raleigh, North Carolina, did a project management position just to get a taste of it. Then I moved into the network arena, which I've been in for the last since 2000. I've been in the network arena since then, dealing with networking in many advances with IBM, AT&T, Walt Disney, Cisco, and now work for Bank of America. And man, my experience has been so great, and I try to motivate and encourage young people, as I was not like I said at first. I remember my second grade experience, so I remember when not being encouraged, and I remember my third grade and fourth grade experience being encouraged. So I realized if you can get the young people while they're young, their mind still developing, encourage them, speak to them, speak life. What they said, he said the song "Speak Life." I played that song earlier today on the House of Creativity, Toby Mac, Speak Life. Yeah. And that is, you can shape a person's life, young or old, by speaking life to them. Let them know there's a way to do things. And I always encourage people in college, make sure you take an internship. Get that first year out of the way. Go ahead and enjoy your first year. Work hard. I said work hard, play hard. But make sure you take an opportunity to take internships, take co-ops. Now, also have the mindset, because I'm older now, also have the mindset, what you learn from the position, how can you take this and make your own career, have your own business out there as well? Because back then, it wasn't pushed too hard, because I came up in the, what you call it, the Cosby Show arena. You want to go to, you want to, you had a household, you want to go to college and get a fancy job and all stuff, which is fine. But I tell people it's okay to have a job, but if you have a plan to actually have your own business, how you can take this knowledge and how you can take this wealth and create your own wealth and your own business, have control of it, then do that as well. It's not for everybody, but I said always take the opportunity to learn greatness from others, and you can expand it by having your own business. Do that as well. So man, I just try to cover all. I have seen many people that have spoke to, had opportunities to speak to, did great things, going to school, learning programming, and getting career jobs, then making money. I'm making pretty good money, but they are probably making real lot of money because they took the advice, they took the wisdom that I gave them, because this is no joke out here, man. If you want to make money, you can make money. That's true. It's different than it was 60 years ago, stuff like that. I ain't say the system will not try to check you, but you also can check the system. So put yourself in wisdom, put yourself in knowledge, put yourself around people, have your community. I'm big on community. Have yourself a community of people who doing stuff. Now you check yourself, you look in the left and right, and your homeboys, your homegirls not doing anything, you know what I'm saying? You might want to check yourself as well. So, make sure you put yourself in places that, if you're the smartest person in the room, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem. And that it's interesting how when you were talking about college, because I went to Benedict College, and I went there to be an engineer, architectural engineer, and they had a dual degree program. And so what was supposed to happen is I was supposed to take 3 years at Benedict and then transfer to, and I was going to go to A&T because it was either A&T or Clemson. Those are my choices. It was like some other schools, but I wanted to go because it was important to me to have that HBCU experience, because I grew up watching the Cosby Show in A Different World, and I thought Hillman was real for a while. And
I did too, brother.
Yeah, and it made college look cool, even though I had a lot of people in my family that went to college and stuff. My mother, parents, aunts and uncles and things like that. I just really wanted to go to HBCU. Like you, I didn't want to go. Something happened with my schedule. It seemed like every semester when I would come back, something would happen to my schedule. And so, I was supposed to have a physics degree and an engineering degree, but I didn't want to stay longer. Would have had to stay to Benedict 4 years, and that would put me in 6 years. And I'm like, nah, I don't feel like doing that. So I changed my major to just physics so I can get out in 4 years. And the interesting thing about that is I didn't like physics in high school. Like that class, it just, because I started off in an honors course, AP course, or whatever you want to call it, but I just wasn't interested in it. And it was so evident that my teacher actually called my parents and was like, we should just move him down to a college prep course because he's not interested. She was like, I can just tell he's just taking this class, and I don't want his GPA to be messed up. So they moved me down to a college prep class. Okay. And then here it is, I ended up getting a degree in physics. I'm like, this is just weird. Like I never would have saw that. But when you spoke about community and having people around you, yes, that's very important. Yes. I found that people make bad decisions most of the time because they're trying to please other people. They're doing things out of character because of peer pressure. Somebody telling you should do something, or hey, we're all doing this, you should do it too. Some people don't know how to handle peer pressure. Fortunately, I was never a person that actually dealt with peer pressure. And growing up, it was kind of hard for me to relate to those people because I'm just like, just tell them no. I mean, I say no. I mean, why can't you say no? But then as I got older, I started realizing that some people just can't tell people no. Some people succumb to peer pressure. Some people, it's just when you hang around bad people long enough, you start to pick up those traits.
That's true.
But it's very important. And then the co-ops, man, I got a cousin who landed a good job because he had a co-op, and I wish I had taken some internships and things like that. Yes. But part of me just wanting to get out of college in 4 years, I had like loaded schedules my last year in college, both semesters, because I was like, I'm not staying in here longer than I have to. And I didn't take the time to apply for internships and co-ops and things like that. Like that stuff wasn't being brought to my attention until I was almost out. And so I do the same thing. I tell everybody, if you have the opportunity for find one. If nobody's telling you where these things are, find you a scholarship, find you a co-op, find something, because you have to get that experience. It's not like back in the day when just because you have a college degree, we're going to hire you, you're going to find a good job. Like you have to have the experience, because when you're looking for a job, people are asking you, what's your experience? And you like, well, I mean, I just got out of college. What type of experience do you think I have? But it's those internships and those co-ops that will give you the experience. So please, if anybody listening to this plan on going to college, when you get there, look for internships, co-ops, something that will get you the experience. Because sometimes you can get a job with those companies they'll have a job waiting for you when you graduate.
There you go. There you go. I know several of them step in for half a sec. I know individuals, a young lady, she's a Latina, and she took an opportunity with a program that Bank of America had. And she was in college, and she took advantage of it. As she was working, they gave her a full-time position. Soon as she ended the program, they're already waiting for her to end the program to give her a salary base job, a salary base. So the opportunities are there. The question is, are you looking for the opportunities? Like I said, I'm not against people who want to go enjoy the college life. I'm not even against you want to go and see the world and stuff like that. But if you truly want opportunities, you're going to have to put yourself in the position to have some type of experience within it these days, because you're dealing with a global market. You're dealing with a global market, and it's not, you're not just going against Billy Bob in your hometown or Susan Jane, just to net see over. You actually now in the standpoint of corporate America, you're dealing with a global market, and if you want to really do things, you really need to show yourself, especially us as being native black. I say native black because I was born in America, so I'm native black.
Right.
When I say African American, I ain't got nothing against it. I still use it to the term, but I believe everybody Africa. I believe life started in Africa, so everybody's African American one way or another. So I believe life started there. So I call myself native black because I was born here in America, and my ancestors paid the price for me to be here, to be able to have opportunity. So why not take advantage of this? Because the opportunity, like I said, 60 years ago may not have been there for. Let me back up. I'll give an example. I had a sit-down conversation about 6 months ago with my mother, and I asked about my great-great-grandfather, and she was like, your great-great-grandfather, because she said she loved her grandfather, and he was a sharecropper. He did not own the land. Here in the South, he did not own the land. And then what he did, he got the crops. But most of the crops, of course, go to the owner of the land. Yeah. And then he get a portion of it. Then maybe get a little bit of it to feed his family. Mama said he was okay with that. He felt like he lived a very, I guess you call it, simple life, but not stressful life to a certain degree. But fast forward to now in 2023, his great-great-great-grandson is working in corporate America, owning his own stuff, owning his own properties, and working in corporate America, making investment stuff. You can see those things 60, 70 years ago with us. But the opportunities are here now. They say opportunities not. The opportunities are here. The question are you putting yourself, you seeking for it first, and you surround yourself with people who are able to do these things. Like you said, Torrance, even with your degree, not saying we get to the point where I want to ease up a little bit. But the thing is, you did get a degree. And the thing is, you still work towards it. The thing is, and you mentioned something about your teacher. Your teacher realized you wasn't interested in a certain thing with your course and stuff. So they put you in another position. You're still college prep, which is still a menace to me. Saying you're talking about someone who struggled. So I'm trying to come out of the the other classes so I can get to them classes. So I came on the opposite end. So by you being there, but your teacher recognized something because she didn't want your GPA to be impacted, because at the end of the day, they look at the numbers. Because they look at the numbers then before they look at you. So she recognized that, on paper, they're going to look at that. So what do you have on your paper? So that's my question. What's on your paper is going to let you stand out? What's on your paper before they meet you personally? Before you get the opportunity to come to the door, what have you written on your paper? What is written about you that allows you to stand out, so when the opportunity comes, then you can be able to speak to it? Because these days, they looking at what is written. What you hear written on Facebook, what you have written on Instagram, what you have you written in all these other places you put stuff at LinkedIn, where you have you written, and your stuff is not out there all crazy and stuff. The opportunity is going to dry up because somebody else who's shown that they have done things that will get the opportunity before you, even though you might be the best candidate, they ain't gonna see it because you have not shown a written record of your past. So it's very important. I hope that means something to you, brother. I'll go back to you.
Yeah, that does. When you start talking about these different social media sites, I just start thinking about how a lot of people lost their jobs because they were tweeting recklessly, putting stuff on Facebook recklessly, thinking, this thing with freedom of speech. Yeah, you have a freedom of speech, but there's also consequences to those freedoms of speech. And when you're representing certain companies and you're out here spewing out all these different hate things or whatever, they can't be associated with that.
Correct.
They can't do it.
Correct.
No matter how valued, people at high levels lost their jobs because you're a representative of the company and you out here. We don't subscribe to that hate message that you're putting out there.
There you go.
So yeah, man. Wow. Yeah,
man. And think about it. You see me and you follow me and I follow you, and we watch each other messages. And you see what I do. I pretty much promote everybody else's business. Yeah. I put my stuff out there. When I need to, but what I try to do is actually feed and promote others. I believe uplifting other people and put people on their stand where they can be recognized. And me working for the banking industry and stuff like that, they're very key on what you put out there. So I'm very cautious of what I say, what I support, and what stuff like that. I ain't say you need to be controlled by the system. Yeah. I ain't saying about that, so you gotta be careful. That I ain't saying, when you need to speak, stand for righteousness and justice. I believe you need to stand for that. But at the same time, that foolishness, foolishness. I mean stuff it ain't true, that lies, and that's actually trying to tear somebody down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be posting that stuff like that, and you're gonna sit there and be laughing stuff. You really got to check yourself. Because these people, they do look at these things, and if you're trying to be in any type of arena, anything, even if your own personal business, if you're trying to have your own personal business, you sitting there, you sitting there, with your shirt off and you just, wilding out the whole entire time. How can they take you serious when you go into a meeting room when you're fully dressed? You know what I'm saying? Because they had the image in your head while you swinging from a monkey bar, jumping, jumping with 6 red cups in your hands. You know what I'm saying? That they so amazed by that they would not hear the message you have, or better yet, you would not get the opportunity to even come into the door to be able to sit at the table. You get to the point you won't have the materials to build your own table. So I'm big about being big right your own table, but you won't have no material. You won't have no materials to build your own table. So you gotta be very cautious, man. Very cautious. That for any young man or woman out there. I'm working with a young lady right now. I told her to get her resume right. Okay, you doing these things. I got you, sis. But make sure you get your resume right. What's your experience? I'm doing this. Okay, put that experience in the resume, because before I present that paperwork to them, make sure that you have something written, because if your paperwork not right, how you gonna have the opportunity to come to the door and speak? Because now it's not back in the day like you say, hey, I know Janet, hey, can you have a meeting with Janet and interview her? Them days, it might work for somebody. I can't say that for everybody. For my experience being in corporate America, my experience even dealing with business, because I got my own business as well. That's a photography business. You got to have work. They want to see my profiles. They want to see the work I have done and see that my style match their style even before we even meet. They want to see my website. Oh yeah. They want to see my website. So they go to my website. And they like it, then they need to do a consultation with me, then we can go further. But they don't like my style or something, then guess what? We don't have a meeting, because it's not like the old days. You just come there and say, hey, shake their hand and somebody give you a job. Then afterwards, no, they want to see the evidence before. They want to see the stuff before. So yes, put the work before, put the work ahead. And if you do the things, guess what? Success will follow you.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about next. How did you get into photography? You're a very creative person, so people can't see right now, but you have on some merch, photography merch. Yeah, how did you get into that, man?
Oh man, this. I said, Lord got jokes. Well, I was in North Carolina A&T, man. I usually carry this film camera with me. I can't get it from my mom. My mom used to take pictures. She don't do it now, but I remember my mom always be snapping pictures all the time. She got this big book of a whole lot of pictures. But anyway, I was at North Carolina A&T, and I used to have this film camera with me. And when we used to, two things, I had a film camera and I had a video camera. You know, the old back in the day we had the tapes, man. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like you record on a hard drive. So when we used to go to Daytona Beach, go to things that happen in Atlanta, I leave those things alone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. You even got to say.
Yeah, man. So I was snapping pictures, and had the video camera rolling and stuff like that. And so on college campus, I used to snatch a lot of pictures. We in class, when downtime, when there's no instruction going, I would take pictures and stuff. So all that, moving out of college, doing that stuff, still were doing those things. So one day, back in 2002, 2003, I joined this. I rededicated my life in 2002. I rededicated my life back to Christ, and I never forget it. I rededicated my life back to Christ. I was at Manpower conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, at THA's Manpower conference, and that's why I asked the Holy Spirit to actually come into my life. So I already gave my life to God, but I did never ask the Holy Spirit to be a part of it. So that when the Holy Spirit filled me fully then. And then without when my eyes really, I said really no picture bigger than when the Holy Spirit revealed things to you.
Exactly.
Then I got into a local ministry in Durham, North Carolina called One Love Ministries at that time. And they were talking about the first time I ever heard this, talking about, you got the talents. Why not open a business with the talents? So I said, okay, I love taking pictures. Oh man, I love doing it. So what I did, I went ahead and registered myself. At the time, it was called Wise Images for You. So I registered in state North Carolina, Wise Images for You and stuff. So I started a business in the local church, and I started doing little portraits and stuff. Then it went from weddings, and I started getting into weddings, and I had a knack for doing weddings and stuff. So in the 2000s and stuff, that I would start doing a lot of weddings and stuff. I had a passion, and me being a person who want to have have spirit of excellence, I want to make sure I deliver. So I used to give a different style. My photos look different than anybody else. And once I really got in the game, I got, me being a technology person. Before I got into weddings, I just started with the film. Then I immediately moved over to digital. So I immediately got into Canon. I got a digital Canon camera, and I started doing weddings and stuff like that. And I started getting into Photoshop and all that stuff. And I would enhance. So I used to give a different hues of a color. That was a little different than any other photographer when I did my pictures. So they like picture, people would go to the wedding, they'll take a picture. My picture will have a unique style and little differences to it, and they could understand why, because I was using Photoshop. I was playing around, making stuff happen. So that's how I really got into the business of it. And what I did, I went to that. I started doing video recordings. I started doing video recordings of weddings and stuff, and business and stuff. Then I got a business partner around 2006, and I started a business called Wizards Creations. It was a name play on my partner name and my name, Wise and Cozart, and so it came Wizards. And we were doing weddings and stuff like that as well. Then it got to the point in 2010, and then we resolved our business. And what I did, I actually kept on doing photography on a lower scale, but I started focusing corporate America. And that when I started working for Walt Disney and all that stuff like that, and I didn't have the time to actually focus. So during the pandemic, I reissued and I started my business of Wise Choice Media. Okay. And the whole idea of Wise Choice Media was just to be a creative media type. And that is to talk about the standpoint of technology as well as photography. I do photography. I love portraits. I love doing portraits and special typing, especially the lightings and stuff like that. I love that kind of stuff. So I do portraits. I do headshots. But also with that, I also teach the standpoint of using technology. So like podcast equipment dealing with anything. I call myself a technology consultant. So anything with technology to enhance, so anybody can tell they create a story. So if you got something you want to do, as far as the media, as far as photography, videography, even writing books, whatever it is, I know the technology you need to enhance your ability. So that was the birth of Wise Choice Media came. And you'll see more photography stuff on there, but I'm going to re-enhance it more to actually include some of the stuff I'm doing for photography. I want to get more aerial photography. I'm working on it right now. You can see it right now. But actually, I can show you because you're on camera. I just got a drone. I'll get some other drones, and I'm trying to work towards my certification with that as well. So I can actually add that too, because I want to get into the aerial photography as well. I do headshot stuff. But I want to get into abroad. I want to challenge myself. The whole thing about life is always challenge yourself. Don't be scared to step out and take chances. We were talking about, again, in the pre-show, we covered this in the pre-show, how Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, back in the day, them guys took chances. They put that all out there. Why we can't do the same thing? We in life, we can step out and take these chances. And why not? Just don't be placent. Life is not about placing. If you go outside, you won't see nothing placing about there. You see the changes in the environment. You see, that's why we got seasons. You see changes. You see life. You see stuff fall. You see stuff bloom up. You always see stuff. Life is not constant. So why are you constant? And not being constant in doing things. That's the best way I can say it. Being constant of doing things to improve, to grow, and make yourself better. My motto is, as I become the best version of me, I want you to be the best version of yourself. If you come to me with anything done with me, as I'm the best version of me, you will be the best version of yourself as well.
Before I let you get out of here, let the people know how they can connect with you, how they can reach out to you, any information you want to share.
And I appreciate you, man. Well, foremost, you can reach me by my name. This is jmelanewise.com. You go there and you get a quick bio, a launch page with my links to my stuff. You also can reach me. You want to see my photography work, you can go to wisechoicemedia.us. I didn't get the .com, I got the .us. So
okay.
wisechoicemedia.us. And also those who are on the Clubhouse app, that's how I met Torrance and a lot of people. There's some great rooms there. And Clubhouse, in the Clubhouse street, you will say, you can reach me there on the House of Creativity. They have a program there Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Thursday I'm co-host with Delano A. Johnson and Monique Lisa Johnson our Tech Thursday, where I provide information on the content today. And my man Torrance provided some information that we had a discussion yesterday on. We're dealing with music, AI, and copyright. So we appreciate you for what you have done for the creative community as well, brother. So you can find me in those places. Yeah. Now, if I warn us on how to do a disclaimer here. Not every room in Clubhouse you need to go into. But the ones that me and Terrence are in, like for example, the House of Creativity, we have a good time. We all about building the community there of creatives. But man, Terrence, it's been awesome, man. And I appreciate you, man. And I appreciate the Brown Sugar Cafe, man. You had made some wonderful content, and you are building your community, man. So as a brother, I'm proud of you, man. Keep on doing your thing. It motivates me. Me
man,
as an upcoming author and also a future podcaster as well.
Okay, so, I'm waiting on that too. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I appreciate you, brother.
Oh man, no problem. I thank you again for coming on. Everybody, make sure you check out his information. I'm gonna have Wise's information in. I'm calling you Wise. I'm gonna have J Malane's information in the show notes, so check it out. You can hit the links there. But until next time, remember, keep pushing forward. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and this is the place where poetry meets conversation. Hit that follow button and turn on your notifications so you won't miss an episode. Check out my blog, thebrownsugarcafe.blog. Also connect with me on Instagram at thebrownsugarcafe. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, remember, keep pushing forward.